So Jason, first off, congrats off with the Kickstarter project. How do you feel about that?
It's overwhelming, and we are very grateful to the fans for believing in us. At first, we didn't think that we were going to make it because it had kind of a slow start, but eventually, once we got the word out there, our message and our philosophies really started resonating with the community, and because of that, they decided to back our project, and we're very grateful for it.
Uh, how did you share Steam Bandits? Just with Kickstarters and other forums?
We started first on Kickstarter, and from there, a few people saw that had contacts in the game industry, and they gave me some information for contacting some game journalists out there to help us spread the word more effectively. And we had an interesting story since pretty much most of this team we used to work at Obsidian, and we were caught up in a round of layoffs there. And also the type of game that we want to make is relatively new, or something that hasn't really been done before. And with the first game they're doing, Steam Bandits Outpost, that's something in itself that is, I guess, the anti-Facebook game, and that's kind of also resonating with a lot of players.
Yeah, that's true. For the people that don't know what Steam Bandits is, can you explain them in short term?
So Steam Bandits itself is a world that will encompass 3 games that we're currently planning. In the Steam Bandits world, it is basically a steampunk fantasy game that takes place in the sky with floating islands, airships, and pirates. And in this world, we're taking steampunk to the next level by evolving the technology and completely removing any aspect of electricity. So it's forcing us to apply steam everywhere throughout the world. So for example, to power things up, they can't use electricity or batteries, they have to use steam. And so we're imagining this world as being, I don't know, maybe 60 or 100 years evolved from what we currently know steampunk to be. So they'll have better, more efficient methods of miniaturizing steam technology. So for example, instead of using full-blown steam generators, they'll use compressed steam cartridges and just slot those into like some of their weapons or power generators. And the first game that we're making in this series is called Steam Bandits Outpost, which will be a free-to-play town-building casual game. But we've gotten a lot of questions about whether or not this is just another Facebook game. And so we've really tried to make our message clear that we are sick and tired of the Facebook town building games and the ones that where you run out of energy, you need to bug your friends or spend money to continue playing. This is completely not that. Instead, from the get-go, I wanted this game to basically be a Civ or a Tropico or a Sim City for those of us that don't have time to sink in 13 hours for a play session and just want to play this thing for like 20 minutes at a time and then put it down and just resume our normal life schedule. Or if you do have 13 hours to play it, you can just play it continuously, and both experiences will feel fulfilling. And that's ultimately the goal with this project.
That sounds good. Let's talk about the team you're having on it, because some team members have worked on pretty big titles like Fallout, World of Warcraft, Diablo. How did you guys come together to create Steam Bandits?
So a lot of us worked together at Obsidian on the Fallout New Vegas project, and we got really close during the DLCs, specifically Old World Blues, because I was the lead producer on the DLCs for that project. And so when I work with a team, I bring them completely in. I take them out for drinks every week or pancakes every week with this team, and we become very, very good friends. And so when the layoffs happened, it was devastating to everybody. And that day we all went out for drinks at our favorite pub, just to hang out and console each other. And I noticed something interesting, which was everybody was turning to me and looking and asking me if I was going to open up a new studio now, because they really had a lot of faith in me. They knew that I had run a studio before, and they all wanted to keep working together, and they couldn't see any other way to do it without my help. And originally I wasn't planning on opening up a new studio, but I really wanted to keep this team together, and so it just kind of fell into place. So I spoke to almost everybody that was laid off to see if they were interested in starting the studio with me. And I'd say about half of roughly the 40 people that were laid off expressed a lot of interest. The other half, they either got jobs really quickly, or they didn't want to be in the game industry anymore, or they wanted a break from things, which was totally understandable. But for those that did want to join me, we started meeting immediately, figuring out what type of game we wanted to work on, throwing around some ideas, and also just getting things organized just to figure out who would be available to do what, and where everybody was standing financially. And over time, it just became more and more clear that, okay, we really want to do a steampunk game, and we should do a game that's kind of scopable at first, since we're still kind of getting our feet on the ground and finances are kind of tough. We don't want to do something too ambitious. So we're going to start with this nice town building game, and then the game after that will be the co-op League of Legends style game that'll be like an open world RPG and really, really leverage a lot of our RPG skills. But this first game is more going to be the game that we make while we're still getting the team organized and getting the company together. For example, right now, we don't even have an office. Well, we technically have an office, but it's my dining room. We all meet up at my place, and I barbecue for this team like on a weekly basis, and we just hang out. And so we needed a game that we could work on that would leverage a lot of remote work technologies, since people want to work from home right now. Well, since right now we're not funded, I mean, we have the Kickstarter funded, which will be great, because then I can start paying people, but it's not enough to pay people salaries for like a year of development. The Kickstarter funding will only last up until about like the end of November, and then after that, fortunately, we're going to be done with the game by then, and we'll probably launch a second Kickstarter for the game after that. And hopefully Kickstarter can provide a sustainable funding model for these games. At that point, once we have one game out of the door and hopefully generating some revenue and a Kickstarter for the next game, we'll be able to safely project our earnings on a quarter-by-quarter basis, and then actually rent office space, get everybody in an office and working locally together. And at that point, then I will feel like a real company. For now, we're just more of a virtual company that is really good at working together and has a pretty good background of working on solid games.
Well, I'm pretty impressed that the team just follows you because you are so nice. Because I never heard that before, so...
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, and it really surprises me, because I can't think of any other way to be. I mean...
Yeah, of course not.
This business doesn't really... It's not good to be a bad guy in this industry. It's not good to burn your bridges. It's not good to lie or to treat people unfairly. I've heard of some stories where I guess some studio heads do treat their people like they're just resources and then burn them out at the end of a project. But I think that's wasteful. I mean, your team is your lifeblood. If you do not treat them well, you do not have a project. You can have the best management system around, but if you burn your team out, you have nothing at the end of it. You might get one project out the door, but you're not actually nurturing the company. And I just don't think that's a good business practice. I think that team leaders need to be very team-centric, focused on their team and not on the leadership itself. It's one term that Josh Sawyer used around me, and I love this, is called servant leadership. And I fully believe in it. I mean, even though we're leaders, we're serving the people that are under us, and we can't view ourselves as being above them. Our role is to facilitate their success, and I really think that's the right way to look at running a team.
Correct, totally correct. The game will be multiplayer, right? Online.
Yes, but it will not be direct multiplayer. It'll be asynchronous multiplayer, meaning that you will be able to interact with your friends, but you will not, like if you're sitting next to a friend that's playing, you will not directly see their interactions within your town. It'll be delayed. And we kind of need to do it that way so that we can maximize the number of players that we have, and also tie into our interconnected games, which we'll have in 2 games following Steam Bandits Outpost. By having an asynchronous style, it allows us to queue up things that might have like a 5-minute delay or so that way we can account for if somebody's playing the game after Steam Bandits Outpost, which will have like RTS style controls and be an open world exploring RPG. They can perform some actions in there, and then in Steam Bandits Outpost, the town building game, you might see that reflected in your game eventually. But to have it real time would kind of be too much of a server load on us right now, and it's not really something that we think would enhance the gameplay experience as much as it would to have an asynchronous experience, especially since we're targeting so many separate devices, and we eventually want to have a web version of this game where you can just open up your browser and play, and possibly we'll have a Facebook version later on down the line, but we're completely avoiding Facebook right now because we don't feel that's a priority, and we're targeting our core audience first, which is the mobile gamer and the PC gamer that is basically a part-time hardcore player, like or basically not the casual market per se, but the players from the past that grew up on games, town building games, and want more depth to what's out there now, but don't have the amount of time to play it.
You just said like mobile platform and the PC and Mac. But will those platforms be connected together?
Yes,
for
completely.
example, Android and PC.
No matter what device you're on, once you run the game, you'll connect to your Steam Bandits account, and that account it's basically a cloud-based game, which is another reason why we're doing asynchronous, because it makes cloud-based gaming much easier. So let's say you've been playing this game on your Android phone, and you built up a town, it looks really cool, and then you put your phone down, you get home from work, and now you get onto your PC or your Mac, and you run the game up, and it's your same account, your town is in the same state as that you left it, so no matter which device you use, it'll be the same experience into the game. The performance might be different, since your PC will have better specs than your phone, but the end result is any action that you perform in any of these devices will be reflected across the board.
The game will be free to play, right?
Yes, completely.
But you are following a kind of pay to style type of game,
Yep.
like clothing, Google's just saying some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you choosing a free to play kind of game instead of a pay to play game? Because it's like more attractive to the community or some kind of stuff like that?
It's a lot of this stemmed from my own personal preferences. So when I design a game, I first look at my experience as a gamer and what has really annoyed me in the past. And I definitely do not believe pay to play is a model that should continue going forward in the game industry. I think it's kind of I guess the best way to put it is it feels like it's business-driven design, where these games are designed to get you hooked early on and then remove whatever nice thing that is, and unless you keep paying or bug your friends. It's almost like giving a baby a lollipop and then like, oh yeah, they really like that lollipop, and then you take it away from them. That is essentially what you're doing, and I don't think that is the right approach for making games if your goal is to make a game that is fun, that people enjoy. That's why I think games like League of Legends and Team Fortress 2 have the right approach, where you can play as long as you want and it is full featured, but if you want these to have new skins or things that have a minimal impact on the gameplay itself, just to look different or feel unique, then you can pay money. But if you don't, you can still have a completely fulfilling game experience without spending a dime. And that's the approach that I'm much more in favor in, because first of all, that won't annoy me, because if I'm having fun playing a game, the only person I want to stop me from playing that game is myself. I do not want the game to stop me from playing it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna play another game that I would rather spend my time playing. Since I have a very busy schedule, I maybe only have 1 hour to actually play a game. If I'm enjoying that game, I don't want it to cut me off after 10 minutes. I want to spend my fully allotted time for playing that game as much as I can. So I want to play that full hour without having to spend money if I don't need to. And it's clear that a lot of the Facebook games out there are designed to cut you off unless you spend money or bug your friends, simply because they want to get money out of you. It's not to enrich the game experience, and that bugs me.
Will you release some kind of DLC for Outpost, or will there be free updates with new content later on?
All the expansions will be free, but there will be extended content within them, like more outfits and accessories that will just be following the pay to style model. So, for example, once we release Steam Bandits Outpost, we're going to work on an expansion or a DLC for it called Steam Bandits Pirate's Lair, and in that one, that'll feel more piratey. And instead of running an outpost on an island, you'll now be constructing a pirate base within an asteroid-looking thing. Because in this world, there's these floating islands, and there's also these floating chunks of rock that tend to bang up against each other and basically look like asteroids in the sky. And that's where the pirates make their base, because it's a very dangerous place to navigate for I guess the sky police. And so the pirates like to hide in there because it's very, very safe for them. And so that's what the player will be taking on the role as in this expansion. They get to build up a base in this asteroid, and it'll be more geared towards a lot of piratey things, so skull and crossbones and buccaneer stuff. And we think it'll be a lot of fun for players that just want to get into the pirate theme for things. And when we release that, it'll be a similar experience as Steam Bandits Outpost, but you'll be able to then make bases on the asteroids. And we'll have more outfits that are pirate themed, accessories, captains that are themed for that, and some of these things will be premium. So if you want to get the cool parrot that sits on your shoulder, that might cost you 50 cents. Will this have any gameplay relevance? No, it'll just make you look like a cool pirate. There will also be outfits that come with this expansion that won't cost any money. So for example, we'll probably have an eye patch. That'll be the basic eye patch, and in order to get that, you just need enough in-game resources to craft that yourself at your tailor shop. And that's ultimately going to be our goal with all the content that we roll out with this game. Is there will always be stuff that you can do and get and accessorize, and probably about 20 to 30% of the accessories will be premiums, because we just put more time into it, or it's more of a flourishy thing, or we want to make them feel more unique, and it's just a model that I find more attractive.
You just talked about captains. What are they?
So this game we're taking a hybrid approach with town building games. So you'll build up your outpost, and eventually once your outpost is kind of thriving, you're producing resources, you're going to attract the attention of airship captains that are stopping off your outpost to refuel their ship or restock on their ammo and stuff. And eventually you can talk to these captains and bring them into your outpost on contract, and then send them out on missions for you. So for example, eventually you'll run into some kind of a captain, and there'll be several of these guys, and you can hire them on for, like, you want to work with this captain for a month. And so they have there's a contract fee, not for real money, it'll be for the in-game resources, but it's like basically the game cost for it. And some of the mission examples are you can send this captain out on a harvesting mission to go out and bring back resources that you currently can't produce on one of your islands. Or you can send them out on a raiding mission, which will increase your infamy towards the pirate route. So this game will also have kind of a light side and a dark side for your alignment of things. And the more pirate type missions you do, I guess the more infamous you'll be. Or you can do noble missions, which will push you more towards the light side of things. And so you can send your captain out, almost similarly to Star Wars The Old Republic, where you get crew members that you can send out on missions. You can send your captains out, and after a period of time, they'll come back with some kind of reward from the mission that you specified. And those captains will level up, you'll earn loyalty with them. So the more the captains like you, the more you can customize them. When you first get a captain, you can't customize their outfit, you can't change their nickname, you can change very little about them. But over time, as they work with you, as you send them out on missions, you'll be able to change their outfit, customize their nickname, and customize various aspects of just where their strengths and weaknesses are. Because some captains are better at combat missions, others are better at bartering missions, others are better at harvesting missions, and you can equip them with certain outfits and accessories to help them become better at this. So for example, if I craft a musket for my captain and I equip it on him, that makes him better at combat missions. Or if I craft a cool monocle that makes him look very attractive and sophisticated, that'll help him in bartering and trade missions. And so that kind of layer on top of the game, we're hoping will add more depth that'll appeal to gamers that really like that kind of deep strategy that you'll find in RPGs with party management, but in a lighter package of a town building game.
You said about combat. Will you be able to fight against other people?
Not directly, and not for the launch of the game. This game will completely have no direct combat at all, and you will not be able to attack other players. You can only send your captain out on combat missions against NPCs and non-players. I have gotten a few questions from people about some kind of element of PvP, and it's something that I don't think we have time to do by the launch of the game, but it's something that we might add if there's enough of an interest in it. And how it would work is you can build up defenses on your island and then turn on your PvP flag, which basically means you are now susceptible to attack. But by turning that flag on, that means that you can also attack other islands that have turned their flag on. So it's an opt-in PvP system. That way we're going to completely prevent people from griefing. So if there's like some guy around that is really good at assaulting islands, he can't just pick off people that have just started the game or are completely defenseless. No, he can only attack other players that have basically flagged themselves for PvP that can also attack players. So we're basically isolating the pool of people that want PvP to only be able to PvP with each other.
Alright. About the release date of the game, do you have one?
So it depends on how much we get funded. So currently with the 30K funding goal, that looks like that'll put our release close to early November. If we hit the 50K funding goal, since we'll be making more content and we'll need to take more time making that content, that will extend us out to late November. If we hit the 90K goal, that'll probably take us to late December, but we'll have 3 times as much content.
And at the Kickstarter, if you donated X amount of money, you could get in the closed beta. Will you be having another beta for people that didn't donate, and if there is, how can people participate in it?
Absolutely. I believe in hosting betas for the community because I think it's a great way to get feedback early on and to really ensure that what we're doing in the game is on the right track. So I definitely believe in doing betas as early as possible. So we're going to have 3 beta phases. The first beta phase will be the backer closed beta, where all of the backers that have donated enough to get into the beta, they'll be notified first of the closed beta and they'll get into it. And then probably about 2 to 3 weeks after that, we'll have a normal closed beta, which will be available to a select group of people that apply to it. And the application process will have something on our website to help manage that closed beta. And it'll be a limited number of people, so maybe 100 or 1,000 people would get into it, maybe more depending upon what we need. And then 2 to 3 weeks after that second closed beta, we'll then have an open beta where anybody can just start playing and making characters with the knowledge in mind that it is a beta, so there might be bugs and there might be character wipes as we go if we have to. And then after open beta, we would launch the game. So I would say, projecting that out, we would probably start our backer closed beta around early October. And then the second phase closed beta for the public, probably around late October, early November, and then the final open beta probably around late November.
Simple question, will there be hats?
Oh, totally, we love hats. There'll be goggles, hats, pirate hats, probably sombreros, caps, berets. If it's a hat, we'll have it. And if we don't have it, we love taking requests from the community and we'll put it in the game.
Awesome. How can people stay up to date with Steam Bandits Outpost?
The best way is to follow us on Twitter. We tend to post a lot on there, and at Twitter we're just at Steam Bandits. We also, our website has a lot of information, steambanditsoutpost.com. We have a Facebook presence, as well as a Tumblr, which if you want to see the I guess the inner workings of the studio and some of the candid photos that we take during the day, the Tumblr is the best source for that. And the Tumblr page is just steambandits.tumblr.com. And I think yesterday, Lindsay, our art director, posted some pictures of our team meeting where we have our cat in a picture for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be posting pictures on the Tumblr about our pancake breakfast that we had this morning, because every week we go out for pancakes. So yeah, the Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter are the best ways to keep up with the team. And also the forums, if people want to talk to us or ask us questions, the forums are the best place to ask questions, because then we could answer them publicly, And if somebody has a question, chances are there's 10 other people that have that question as well that that don't feel comfortable asking it in a public forum. But if we answer that question, we'll be answering it for so many other people that haven't asked that question yet.
Alright, I'm closing the interview. Do you have any last words?
We're a team of really experienced game developers. We worked on a lot of AAA titles. This will be our first foray into casual games, but we've played a lot of casual games in the past, and we feel that we're bringing something unique to the table, and that we have some good solid AAA experience, and we're like instilling that into the casual market, hopefully to give casual games for the rest of us gamers that grew up on a lot of hardcore games that don't have time to be hardcore anymore. And we really believe in the whole crowdsourcing funding model like Kickstarter, and hopefully, I mean, now that this campaign is successful, we plan on using Kickstarter again in the future, because we think that it is a fully sustainable model for game development, and it's definitely the right fit for us, and we believe that it will be the right fit for a lot of other game developers that want to make games of a similar caliber. And we love the just, I guess, how supportive the community has been, and we really appreciate their help.
Well, this was Dennis from Gamemuse with the interview with Jason Vader of Steam Bandits, and see you soon.